Second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion carries. All right, I call the public session to order. Please stand for the saying of Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will turn it over to the superintendent to begin our retirement recognition.
Thank you. Thank you. This is obviously a very special night. A special night for a lot of reasons, one of which I'm going to try to but also a special night for a couple of reasons. One, we haven't had any and second is one of the most wonderful reasons why so we're so happy that all of you are here this night, particularly tonight we honor our retirees from both last year and this year. We have had over 20 retirements during this time period, amounting to over 500 years of combined service. 500 years, not for one person. Each retiree will be presented to the Board of Education and will receive a commemorative apple as a token of our appreciation. And in that apple, there's a little card. And the card says, the apple award. For generations past, present, and future, the apple is an expression of respect, gratitude, and love for those special people who have helped guide us, shape us, and make a difference in our lives. We wish you good health and joy. On behalf of the school district, I want to thank all of our retirees for your hard work, for your dedication to the district, and most importantly, for your commitment to our students. Thank you. First up to present is Mrs. John Thorpe.
It's my pleasure tonight to share some thoughts about Mary Lou Miskey. Please accept it. This is with the most sincere respect for you. My words can't do justice for the service you provided. So I sought your friends, okay, and asked for some help. So now, a little indulgence. This is from the art department. Mary Lou is incredibly knowledgeable in the art of teaching. Her vision, leadership, and guidance supported the art department for many, many years. She worked very hard to inspire her students to produce artwork of the highest quality. This is so evident in the spectacular student artwork that adorns our halls, not the least of which is an art piece that earned national recognition and is now permanently installed in the front hallway of the high school. Mary Lou's retirement is a huge loss to the high school art department. She and her wonderfully infectious laugh will be greatly missed in the art hall and the high school as a whole. Here. This was a little bit longer. Bear with me. This is from Vanessa Helene and Lisa Lindell. Oh, no. It's been a pleasure working with Mary Lou for the past decade as co-advisors of the yearbook. Many years ago, when an opening occurred for an advisor role to the yearbook, Mary Lou approached both Lisa and Vanessa, asking if they would be interested in the position. Each kindly responded, saying that they would think about it, but walked away saying to themselves, there's absolutely no way I'm getting involved in that. Mary Lou was relentless in her pursuit of both Lisa and Vanessa, who finally wore them down, and they're both very thankful for Mary Lou's persistence. The first year working as a team was amazing, as the yearbook won a national award for the cover of the yearbook. Both Vanessa and Lisa were most gracious in accepting congratulations for their work, with Mary Lou as co-advisors. What people didn't know was the cover was created and designed the previous year solely by Mary Lou. Lisa and Vanessa, thank you for sharing the spotlight. As Mary Lou approached retirement, both Vanessa and Lisa panicked. How could they produce a yearbook when Mary Lou had been the mastermind all along? Long story short, Mary Lou has continued as a yearbook advisor. She is the only retiree who has an office in the high school. Mary Lou has been the calm in the storm, steadying the ship and teaching Vanessa and Lisa the whole time. Vanessa and Lisa, thank you for your inspiration, tireless work effort, leadership, and service to the Niagara community. The last one. This is from Jamie Drury, class of 2021. I've been in this art class for the past 3 years and a member of the yearbook club for the past 4. Ms. Miskey has not only helped improve my skills in the arts, she has helped me learn how to express myself to the best of my ability. She has helped me to build my confidence these past 4 years, and because of her, I feel prepared to start my next journey in life by attending college at New Paltz in the fall. Good luck to you, Ms. Miskey. Congratulations.
Oh, I have to say something?
You don't have to. You stepped out of your way.
It is open mic night, just to let you know.
Well, the cover, Mary Lou creates a cover for the yearbook every year. And our yearbook just came in today for this year, and this is the new cover.
Milk and strong. Of course, being with COVID this year, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, I have to laugh when, you know, you're talking about the yearbook and getting the same thing happened to me. You know, I had that principal come in to me and said, you know, do yearbook, please do yearbook. No, I'm not involved with that. I know what's involved. I don't think time. Kept coming back, kept coming back, kept coming back. I kept saying no. Unfortunately, that year, I had a medical issue where I had to catch back. And I was being on school for about 2 months. And I came back, it was around November. And Dawn Yates, okay, she's counting now at she had taken on this job by herself. And she came in, she didn't know what she was doing. And she was using my room that got a group of computers there. And I walked in. Dawn, what are you doing? She, I don't know what I'm doing. I said, oh, I can't let this poor woman sit by herself. This just isn't, I get a clue what it's involved. So that's kind of how I came in. I said, what do you need? What do you have to get started? And I think how clueless we were that first year, you know? We had to have ladder. What's a ladder? Ladder, you climb up this door. What do you mean? What's a ladder? We had no, but we learned and we muddled and we got through. And the first couple of years was the hardest years to get through. The average lifespan for a yearbook advisor is 2 years. And I think this is my 17th or 18th year. Thank you.
Next up, we have Jordan and Brett. That's what it says. Okay, thanks.
Hello, welcome. I'm gonna try to do the same. I have my speech in my phone, so I'm not online shopping, but I have Vito. Vito, if you come on up here for me. Everyone, this is Vito. I'd like to take a few minutes on Vito. So, thank you, Vito, for all your service to NWCSD. I have the honor to say a few words about you, so I thought we'd use words in Vito phrases. So we'll start with 2 of them. Okay, no problem, and don't worry, we will figure it out. So first, okay, no problem. This is a common phrase we heard from Vito throughout the years. All the changes, cleaning, classroom moves, Vito, another classroom move, we want to move it here now, and it was always, okay, no problem. Why? Because you knew it was for the students and staff. Second one was, don't worry, we will figure it out. So I'm going to bring up the capital project of 2019. We're going to set the stage. our science halls, no floors, no desks, no walls, nothing, a couple weeks before school. Here's what I would hear. Don't worry, we'll figure it out. But, there's people coming, like 1,000 of them, all coming here. And he would still say, don't worry, we'll figure it out. And as you could figure, of course, helped me, students, staff, we figured it out, and most importantly, for the kids. So we figured it out, we did it, and the year started out great. So thank you, Vito, for everything you did for us, the staff, the students, the community, and especially the kids, and having that school ready for us and continue to grow. So thank you.
Vito, I know that I didn't get to work with you long, but it was a pleasure for your time here. I want to thank you for your service. Thank you again. Enjoy your retirement. Thank you.
Aaron Long.
I will start with Anita Dunn. Come forward. Or no, you don't want to come forward? No, come on up here. Anita was a teacher aide in my time at West Street for the entire time I was there. And I haven't seen her since we left school last March, but just catching up with her. She spent 32 years working in the district and in a variety of roles, starting in the cafeteria, subbing. She then went on to spend 8 years cleaning and spent her final 22 years at West Street. Or I'm not sure if it was all at West Street, but being a teacher aide. And all I can tell you about her is you could count on her for anything. She was wonderful with kids. I really loved our last 2 years together. She was a library. She's basically in the library, running the entire library, and she did a phenomenal job. So I'm so grateful that we had you, and I hope you have a wonderful retirement. Okay. Paulette is a speech therapist, and the information I have on her here, her illustrious career here in Wheatfield, is that she started her first 10 years, she was split between Colonial Village and Tuscarora, Eric Road for 1 year, and then she came to West Street in 1998 when the building opened. To this present day, she's been at West Street. And the best way I can describe her is bubbly, always laughing, and has a great personality. So anybody that comes in contact with her, I think would say the same thing at West Street. As I was thinking about her, one of the things that I respect is the child study teams, not knowing a ton about speech, learning from her and hearing what she had to say about kids, always articulate, always ready to help teachers, whether it was screen children, work with them, offer them suggestions. So absolutely invaluable what you've done at West Street. And I also wanted to end on a personal note. My first time in the district was a party at your house. But Jen and I were there, and you really made us feel welcome. We were coming from Rochester, so I also want to thank you for that. So,
I forgot all about
long time.
that.
All right. Next, Mary started her career in the district in 1987. She started at Colonial Village. She had 5 years in first grade, K for 1, fourth for 1, and the rest of those years were spent in third grade. And all I can say about Mary is she is a third grade teacher at heart, and those are the years I've known her, and incredible. So yes, from 1998 on, you were West Street too, so you're a West Street lifer. One of the things that I heard, you emailed me the story, but I knew about it, but she, after watching Romper Room, she knew she wanted to be a teacher, and she would invite all the kids in the neighborhood over and play school, and she had kids reading before they even went to kindergarten, and she basically had a pre-K program going in her basement, so, and this is an interesting thing, whenever someone in our office talks, if someone comes in and randomly says, well, that person's really nice, I've heard this several times from my office. I can hear everything and she says, secretaries always say, well, she married a Tolman Knights. High compliment. So, congratulations.
I have Darren and Les. Darren and Les. How'd you know? That was a great guess.
This is Mrs. Leo.
Get a little closer, if you could, just a mic.
This is Mrs. Leo. Sherry. Sherry. Okay. Sherry, you are the only person that is always willing to help. And the phrase that goes over the radio, I'll do anything for you. Yes, you do. All right. You enjoy your children on your bus, and she still is subbing for us at this time. 4 days a week, 3 days, sometimes 4 days. But we absolutely love her and enjoy her. It's not so.
All right, so on my half, I wasn't prepared, but I will.
Oh, you know.
You are always in my heart, reminds me of the lunch lady of West Street. Seriously, you were amazing. The kids absolutely loved you. She got me the best ties for Christmas. Oh my gosh, not those ones for just pressing it. These were beautiful Christmas ties. So you can still bring me one. Honestly, but you were amazing. You really are. So thank you. Yes.
So honored tonight, Tuscarora. It's so sad. I mean, my friends are, completing their career. We were hired in 1987. Dan and Mary and I took the bus tour when we were hired. We were so excited. But I got not Pleasant, but I went up her. Like I'm being 30 years. It's so sad. And I know I have a time limit, so I have so many stories. But I don't want the music to play. I wrote some notes, but Cindy, you have inspired so many students at customer school and shaped me into who I am today. Part of my career, I started as a teacher, and you were a teacher, and seen me teach, and now we work together as such a team. Cindy is a dear friend. She's been teaching at Tuscarora School for 30 years. Should I stand closer? And she'll finish this chapter in a few weeks. Cindy's always put children first. You touch the lives of so many. You're so kind, thoughtful, and caring. So that classroom is very meaningful to me because I taught in that 5th grade classroom. Cindy's been in there, and it just brings me so much peace. I walk in and the kids are just always engaged, and they're just so privileged to have you as a teacher. If the district is purchasing a product, then we probably already had it implemented in our classroom. We had book clubs. Before we talked about book clubs, she had small guided reading groups, math groups, science groups. They were always going on in the classroom. And now when we had a district committee, Cindy was the first one to jump on and be on that committee and just give so much to that committee. So I thank you for that. No matter when I asked you, you were always willing to go with that. We had something new. You were always there. She loves to research, and she models after their 5th graders. I'll miss your dedication to Niagara Refield, and I'm sure the board's going to miss seeing. You're probably still coming to board meetings. Yeah. But Cindy was always at board meetings. Yeah. I mean, until COVID hit, and I'm sure you were on there during that time. And with the NWTA, you were just part of it. Now, I actually have the privilege of working with her husband, Tim, with the MBK program. So that's going to start in the summer. And her daughter is following in her footsteps, so Sierra graduated from Gen Steel. She's actually a long-term sub right now for our third grade teacher. So it's amazing. She's going to keep going. And again, we've learned so much about culture and history. And you're just a lifelong learner. And I wish you all the best in the years to come in your next chapter. So thank you for all that you've done. And I Yeah, I had a lot more stories, but they told me. So Tina, come on up. Tina Pineda, another dear friend. I have so many stories. My story with Tina begins in 1997. I was teaching fifth grade, and Tina moved from North Carolina, and Trish was in my class. So Trish, now the language teacher at the middle and high school. It was awesome. She was like my mini assistant in fifth grade. So whatever we were doing, she would say, "How come I did? Do you need an egg? Let's do this science experiment." It was always science experiments, and Fernando would always come with whatever we needed. He'd be right there in a second. And then I became a principal, and we worked together closely. And it was 1997. Tina, now I have to write this part down because you were kindergarten when I first started, and then we were first grade for 12 years. So she was just like the go-to person. Again, if there was a district committee, we would turn to Tina in terms of literacy and primary, and we had a literacy committee, and so passionate about Tuscarora language and history, and I've just learned so much from you also in my career. I'm so grateful. So then you went back to kindergarten for 2 years, and then when Betsy Bissell retired, Tina stepped up into the language position and really worked night and day with elders and with any PD that she could get her hands on. And we creatively just made it work and put hours upon hours. Talk about opening the building at 9 at night. Well, there would be Tina at 10 at night, and then we'd be like, "Wait, Tina's still in there." So just so much time and dedication. And we also love just anything extended. So the summer program, you helped coordinate on Earth Spirit. Any field trip, Tina was there. At Fletchworth, she was in the wherever you were doing, overnight, building her, building the shelter. Always enjoying adventure. So you always know how important it was for children to be outside, and when you were in the classroom, they were outside every day, and you still to this day like outside. You also were involved in almost every club that we had prior to COVID. She was Club Sparura, In Touch Science. See, that's why Trish is so into science. You worked with Buffalo Engineering Awareness for minorities for years. We also created our cooking club, helping students to cook healthy meals and understand how important nutrition would be in their lives. And the club encouraged family involvement, so we were oftentimes together cooking, family.
Oh my God.
We started our national archery
There's a clock again.
program, so anyone who wants to find me an archery teacher now, I'm gonna do that. I mean, we have all.
Wait, you're teaching archery?
Archery is cool, yeah. As this chapter closes, Tina looks forward to relaxing from her 2 careers, her life as a Marine, who that was 20 years, and now her. Again, I'm sure you'll be grandchild, children, and you'll be enjoying the years to come. So I just want to thank you again. Let's talk to you. Did I say it right? Let's talk to you. Good luck. I listened to it all the way. Roseanne played Tug of War. We're going to talk about Roseanne. I won. So Roseanne's been in middle school, but to the high school, Eric Rose. But like I said, we were on a bus together in 1987. So who better than myself to talk about Roseanne? Yeah, we still, my kids, I talk about the 80s, they're like, the 80s. But yeah, Roseanne is also a dear friend. We met on the famous Niagara Wheatfield bus tour back in 1987. We do on the reservation.
Oh, yeah.
We do. And I also worked with her husband, Carl. Carl actually taught at Tuscarora for 100 years. Yeah. So we traveled to all the schools. We were young and ready to begin our journey with Niagara Bluefield. We were so enthusiastic. Roseanne kept that enthusiasm. She actually went to Colonial Village when she was hired. I went to Military Road, but we still had connections. And Carl was at Tuscarora, and we were all in the district together. And then in 1991, Roseanne went to Eric Road, and she taught kindergarten, 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade. And then in 2003, she went on a sabbatical and wanted to get her master's in education in library science, which was a true passion of Roseanne. I got to know that later on. Truly blessed that she was able to come to Tuscarora. So in 2004, she started as a librarian at Eric Road. And then in 2006, she worked at Tuscarora and Eric Road, so we were working 3 days, I believe. And so it was great. The library was just a beautiful place for kids. She made such a difference, such a passion for literature and the Tuscarora history and culture. She was just really interested in learning and a lifelong learner as well. So it was great being united with you at Tuscarora School. You were familiar with the school, worked there, and then in 2011 to 2013, you went back to the classroom at Tuscarora and taught 3rd grade. You helped my daughter, who also followed in my footsteps, Caitlin. She's a 1st grade teacher, so Roseanne was a great influence for my Caitlin, and so I can't thank you. Kids enjoyed you. You touched so many of the kids, and now then when you went to the high school, which you went in 2013, you went to the library in Bluefield High School. So she was able to know the kids that came through the Tuscarora School. And that was such a nice connection. They would come back and talk about those again. And then last year you retired. So now here we are celebrating. How's it been? Good. I mean, you just kind of like, so congratulations. And super quick, can I just talk about Sue Cavallero? Because she's not here, but I have to do it. And because if this is being videotaped, right, she might be live streaming to watch it, but she's also my dear friend. She taught at Tuscarora School. She actually stopped working on that last day in March 13th, the pandemic, and she never thought that would be her last in-person day, but she completed her year on Zoom. She never thought that would be her final year, but she taught me so much as well. She used to teach 6th grade, I taught 5th grade, and I just want to recognize Sue, wish her well in her retirement, and she's not here, but she's going to.
Okay, I'm going to bring up Tammy Brooks. As you notice, when Tammy walks into a room, she's always smiling. Lights it up, children love her. She's a great bus driver. Kind of hope maybe she come back on those lights. She's enjoying retirement. I'm so glad. Congratulations, dear. Next one is Stan Buckles. Well, Stan, I can say that you rode your bike to work every day in the summer. But when it was warm, he rode in from River Road to here. He invented the question mark. Not sure what that means, but maybe you can explain. For gosh. He was always big in safety with his children. He was always trying to create some new safety thing for his kids. He had a pocket full of lifesavers, but with COVID, we couldn't hand out lifesavers. Enjoy your retirement. We miss you.
Thank you.
We have Darren Snead come up. first met Darren actually, well, on this side of the table as we were sitting there. He was following the board. Remember back about 10 years ago, we were doing board meetings in each of the elementary schools to get more message out of what was going on and everything. Darren followed us and took advantage of the open mic night and did stand-up comedy while he was talking to the board. And we had a great laugh and everything. So you remember one of Mr. Peters said to Mr. Snead at one meeting, he says, you know, you talk really well. You should run for the school board. And what did Mr. Snead do? Darren ran for the school board. And said he would take his message to Albany and get rid of the gap elimination fund. Remember that fun time and everything? And over the course of the 2 terms he served, got rid of the gap elimination. Yes. No, he played a big role in it. You know. Mr. Snead is active in both NWAA for wrestling and for NW wrestling here. Served on many committees here. He served the District Safety Committee, the Wall of Fame Committee, which he still is a member of and serving on. And actually, I think we started it. Interesting people starting that back up with the Wall of Fame. Yes. I got asked to go in. And he's also on our Equity and Education Steering Committee. And I'll tell you, he served as my vice president for a couple of years there, and it was great having him on board, especially the comedy relief. We always made Mike's the new comedy relief when it comes to food on here, but we always had Darren be the one racing back to cookies and 3:30 to 7. So, you know, might get to race Darren tonight for it.
He'll win. Oh.
Thank you, my friend.
She'll win.
Gina Turbo. Yes, I know. Gina served also 2 terms on the school board with many of us. She's active in the NW soccer community. If you remember, one of her first things on the board, she said that she wanted to do is make sure we got shelters built on the soccer field for the players that were out there. Well, she has to always go big with anything that she does. So instead of doing that, she gets on the capital project committee, works on getting us a whole turf complex. So that a couple of shelters grew into an entire turf field. So that is great. She served as the capital project committee, chaired that. Lobbying efforts. If someone, she was one person I didn't want to go head to head with if I ever had to lobby for something, because she was always making sure she would get her way or whatever she did in there. So I thank you for your service to Wheatfield schools and being the board.
It's my pleasure to present our student board liaison. Last year, Karen Janowski, last school year, served as our student liaison board of education. She'll sit right back there. One of the things that was always neat was that we knew that Karen was going to bring the students' perspective. And as a matter of fact, we now going to have a standing part of the board that has to do with things to and bringing that for sure. That's a little bit more than it's been Karen attended almost every meeting and did so running from whether it was a concert or a sport event, these were our meetings, just to make sure she was here on time, literally what meetings on time. So she not only put in here, she was doing outside of this school as well. As a leader, Karen understood the importance of giving her time. She was going to be the impact that she would have. To date, I believe Karen may be the only student liaison, at least certainly I did. He was tall for liaison. He actually got the call started. And although this is not listed last name, Mrs. Darkoni, as a student, as I realized, important role in leadership. And that is that you don't get to choose the challenges that come your way, but you do get to choose how you respond to those challenges. And this year, being a student leader in a high school, I think that will be more challenging than I've done. Because everybody's going to do in a different direction. What they like, what they learn, what they do, and understand everything that's coming in and so that understand what they're about. So there's certain guidelines. I just can't imagine the challenge and the burden as a student leader being prepared this year. What I'm going to say is every single meeting, she handled it just flattering them. I wasn't surprised when we began the session. Okay, but
All right, we're gonna take about a 8-minute recess then, and if I want to just say goodbye and say hello and whatever, and we'll reconvene about 4:02. We're gonna have our Esser and GUR expenditure plan presentation right now. I'm loving these new acronyms.
Yeah, we needed a few more, right?
GUR.
Okay, I'm gonna ask Mr. Stack to join me up here. Okay, so we're required to have a public hearing to share the plans for the federal stimulus dollars, okay? If you go to the next slide, we've already received our first set of funding in that respect. So what we're looking at here is round 2 and round 3 of the federal funding that's come in. The ESSER 2 is really the one that we had to hold the hearing on, okay? And that funding for our district is about $3.2 million, okay? The ARP, which all the guidelines have not come out for yet, is $4.6 million. The idea here is this. We have put together a plan that will go on for 3 years because the ARP, we can fund actually into the beginning of our 4th year, but just until September. So the plan is really for the next 3 school years for us to utilize the federal funding, okay? Understand that there'll be amendments, certainly, we may change things along the way. The only piece that we really have to, in essence, finalize before June 15th is the money that we're expending from the ESSER 2, okay, which is the $3.2 million. However, we didn't think that was really great planning. We wanted to put together a plan that was for 3 years, and we can always move inside of that plan. As of right now, there's no requirement to have a hearing or anything like that for the ARP funds, but we're including all of that in this decision. Okay? So if we go to the first slide here, I'll talk about the regular school year. We've broken this up into positions and additions under regular school year, the summer program, the social emotional learning, cleaning supplies, okay? And if I've missed one, we'll get to it in a minute. So under academic regular school year, one of the things that we've recognized is that we're behind in speech. So we're adding a speech teacher. We need additional speech support. The special programs department feels like that's an area that we're certainly going to need to ramp up. Now, one of the things I want to say, and this applies to all of these positions, if we find out after year 1 we're caught up in an area, we pull back, right? And we look for other areas that we need. If we realize after another year we need additional speech, we can always ramp up and bring them back in. Additional teachers. Right now, from the special education department, we need 1 speech teacher. We're hiring high school AIS teachers, academic and mental services, to catch up our students who have fallen behind in the different academic categories. And this allows them for the regular school year to get services during the day from AIS teachers, okay? We're putting in 2 additional elementary teachers. One's at, I want to say one's at CD, correct? Yeah. Okay, and those are based on the FAST data. We have 2 particular, we have 1 grade level in each of those buildings where the numbers, the FAST data is for. And we want to make sure that we really focus in on that particular grade level to give them a bump. And so adding those 2 additional teachers will decrease class size a little bit and really allow some additional attention to that grade level, individual grade level in each of those 2 buildings. Okay. High school academic support, credit recovery. At the high school level, we need licenses for APEX. Okay, what's the cost?
With the teachers, it was about
For APEX?
Oh, so it was about $100 per seat.
Okay, so for each license that we need, it's about $100. which is a significant increase from a few years back that we were talking about. Okay, so this is both the Apex licenses and Apex teacher. So this teacher will be dedicated to providing and overseeing students in this Apex program. Okay, and again, it's credit recovery. One of the ideas, especially of the third round of federal funding, is that we have to make sure that our funding, some of our funding focuses on the regular academic program and the academic recovery and support in that program, and the summer program. Okay, those are two areas. Third is social emotional learning. Those are all areas of focus that are expected with that third stream of federal funding. Okay. As of right now, we haven't seen all the particulars, but those are the general requirements. Middle school English and math AIS teachers, okay, one each. Again, to provide additional supports to help catch your kids up at the middle school level. Next, a special education reading teacher, okay, literally to help kids with reading. One of our greatest concerns has been our early learners, and the fact that, you know, if you think about it, our kindergartners and our students who were kindergartners last year, first graders this year, some of them, if they've been virtual, were in school last year for 7 months, 6 months, during a really critical time in their educational lives. So, a special education reading teachers added, K-12 before and after school supports. There's an expectation that some of the funding is used not only for during the school day, but for after the school day, okay, during the school year. Some K-12 teacher leader data-driven instruction. In other words, we do this all the time, but now more important than ever to find out and really hone in on which students are struggling with what. So we're going to use our teachers and allow them some time to do the work to find out and really pinpoint who's struggling. Okay, and then make sure we get them the right supports. Elementary virtual units for reading, writing, and phonics. This is the actual resources for that. ELA math committees to work on some of the new standards. The standards have been rolled out a couple of years ago. It started, right? Two years, they started to roll out standards. All of that kind of is paused, right? We haven't had the level of professional development that we normally have. So this is our opportunity to really catch up on that. One of the programs that we've used that supports various reading levels is this News ELA. Next. And the last two things, Lucy Calkins, classroom libraries. Again, these are resources and some of the units of study for our reading and writing workshops. Those are all resources that we can purchase with these one-time parts. Okay, that's the regular program. Questions on the regular program?
So one of the components he's also, as the superintendent previously stated, was in addition to the regular program, there is an emphasis on providing summer remediation, summer assistance, including reading recovery, summer screening. So this is our opportunity to identify where our students' gaps are. Again, they were only in school for the better part of 6.5 months last year. We do expect some of those gaps, as the board already knows. We did examine some of the FAST data. It's been looking at that, but also this summer screening will allow us the capacity to continue to identify those gaps and the shortfalls with our reading levels, especially in the earliest of learners. So that's going to allow us to do that. Part of that formula also is the professional development of the elementary summer program and our teachers. I know that Mr. Hazel was here at the previous board meeting and explained that during the summer school year, if you will, teachers would have some time allowance to continuously look at data, track data, and identify gaps in student learning. So certainly some of that professional development and on those designated days in the summer will support that. The elementary summer program in and of itself is brand new to the district. It's something that we traditionally have not run, but this is going to be something that we want to definitely do this year. Continue to monitor progress of students during the regular year next year for 21-22, and perhaps continue running that into future years if we have to. And as the superintendent stated, if we don't need it or we need to scale it back, we always have the flexibility with the funding stream to be able to do that.
I think as of right now, we have about 150 people sign up to the program. Based on the past data, it was about 300 something that we,
Qualified.
well, that's qualified, 150 signed up. In the follow-ups, it's over 100 are already in and registered.
So we're looking forward to that. That again will be at West Street, so we welcome you anytime to come in. If you'd like to look at the program, certainly you're welcome to. Speech support, again, just a huge gap that we see there. It's an increasing need that we're starting to identify through special programs, especially given the fact that it is annual review season. We know that support is needed, so the additional speech support for our summer program will now be in place to help those students along and develop there. At the secondary level, summer credit recovery, we feel is going to be very, very crucial and important. And we bring that up because typically our secondary campus and students will attend the regional summer school. I know that we have hosted it here and there, and many years ago hosted it quite regularly. Most of the time that is housed at Iron Falls High School. But this gives us an opportunity to hone in a little bit more locally on the credit recovery and the aspects of that, using our staff that we can bring in, as well as some of our summer credit recovery tools such as APEX.
I was gonna say, yeah, and I would add that we're still participating in the summer program with the BOCES.
Yeah.
We'll also have some of our local credit recovery here.
So there's a couple of good options there for our students. Secondary summer curriculum alignment work, again, this is just something that's going to stay with us. The changes in the assessments have not gone away. The changes in the curricula K-12 have not gone away. They're still coming. New science, we have new science curricula onboarding. The math curriculum is ever changing, really. And some of the curriculum work in alignment and curriculum mapping that we have to do at the secondary level is quite intensive. And what we don't know is where that will land, especially after the gaps that we have and students being out for a year and a half. We know what the curricula will look like, or what they say it will look like, right? The Office of Assessment. What we also don't know is what the assessments will look like in essence. So we want to be able to best prepare our students, and we feel the best way to do that is prepare our teachers with the summer curriculum work to be able to do that.
And one thing I would add, remember, we've done a lot of our professional development. Most people know this. We usually do it during the year, during the school year. And when we do that, we need subs. So let's say we're doing some work with our third grade teachers. We'll pull our third grade teachers out or some of them out, and we have subs coming for them. Well, you know what it's been like the last year and a half. Trying to get subs, it's very difficult. We're trying very hard not to put new people in their classrooms. So a lot of that stuff's really solved, right? So this is our way to get that going again, to prime that pump, okay? Is to do some of this over the summer.
Social emotional learning and supports, we know that this is going to be a tremendous value for our students, to bring in additional supports. School psychologists, we are expecting our evaluations of students after the pandemic or post-pandemic to increase. We know that the needs will be there for the counseling piece, that some of the expertise that the school psychologists can bring to the table will help our students there and help our buildings and our Office of Special Programs. So that is going to be an addition that we recommend. The Family Support Center developer is going to be new to the district. And the purpose behind developing the Family Support Center is to provide a network for our families that struggle the most and our students that struggle the most. This is something we're really, really looking forward to because it builds very positive inroads with our overall community around us. It allows us to bring in county services, state level services, as well as localized partnerships to our students and to our families that typically maybe wouldn't have the resources to participate in.
Yeah, and I would add the last, couple of years, our counseling department, school counselors, social workers, predominantly, have been working on collecting those resources, reaching out to some of the local county level services that are out there and making those available to families, but having one person to bring all of that together under kind of one roof when we have it set into place and build that so that our counselors and our social workers can always pull from it is a really important thing.
again, that will be something that, we're looking to fund for the next 3 years and get really in place. And as the superintendent stated, really have some good support for it from, our social workers, our psychs, as well as our counselors that are on staff to be able to utilize that and provide those resources for our families. The counselor for special programs in CV, if I could take a minute to explain that, we are going to look for a school counselor primarily located out of Colonial Village. There are reasons for that, but I believe the board may know that our self-contained programming is housed at that building at the elementary level. It's certainly an addition to staff that will help our students that struggle the most. And we feel, yep.
I'm just here,
Yep.
and I think everybody understands that some of our students who struggle with learning normally, this time period in our history in education has been more difficult for them, right? So, this is, I think, a really good opportunity to put some supports in place for those students who learning is always easy, but it's been much more difficult during this pandemic.
That counseling support will really primarily focus for IEP students, 504 students, and those students with the most need. That does allow some level of flexibility for the counselors that are there and the student support systems that are already there to do some of the work that they have grown accustomed to, pushing into classes, classroom lessons, things of that nature. That work has been challenging for them to balance in the past years, and we expect that need to be even higher. Mental health first aid training. This is some real positive news. We're partnering with Compeer, and Compeer is going to be doing some very valuable training with our administrative staff to start off the school year. It's actually going to occur this summer. We already have a date on the calendar, and we're looking to bring that not only to the administrative team, but also to our teaching staff and support staff in particular. And we want our staff to be very cognizant of the needs that are in our students and our families, and also recognize some of the struggles that are pervasive as we approach the new school year and dealing specifically with mental health. So that's going to be a really nice partnership that I'm looking forward to putting together. And the good news is it's free for this upcoming year, but after that it's going to be a charge of about $100 for
Until
person
September,
training
right?
until September, at the end of September.
September, so we're gonna get as much as we can in that, and
Yep.
during that time, then additional training that we'll have to pay for.
Yep.
So that's why it's on here.
So it can be cost on the line, but we want to be uniform with our approach for all staff. We don't want to piecemeal things where one group has the training of this nature and another group has training of that. So we want to try to be uniform with our approach. Team training is going to be one of those tenets that we look to expand on trauma, illness, and grief. The pandemic has certainly caused a lot of family trauma. Certainly the illness speaks for itself. The trauma and the grief that is associated with loss is something definitely that has come to the forefront for our students and our families. Certainly a struggle for them, a struggle for our staff. So bringing in TIG training for all of our employees is something that we're going to want to take a very strong look at, more along the lines of years 2 and 3 on the roadmap. Summer PD and planning for the counseling department. A few weeks ago, I had the pleasure on a Friday of getting together the entire group of counselors, social workers, in identifying some areas of work that were impacted by the pandemic. We never really formally completed our K-12 counseling plan, and that is one of the things that has to be done so that we're in compliance. We're very close, and we were in the process of working on that before our consultant work that we were doing with Genesee Valley BOCES partnership was kind of cut short due to the pandemic, so we never had a chance to finish that work. They still have not returned to us on any return training, but we're gonna close it up on our own because we feel confident that we have enough to be able to complete the task. We also realize that some of our students, especially those that are virtual and those that were beginning students at our high school as freshmen or even 6th graders, had very scaled down or watered down versions of orientation. So we wanted to make sure that the counselors were working on something to really bring in a fully comprehensive orientation program for those kids that are coming in for the first time this coming school year, as well as those that never received it the first school. And lastly, as I've already stated, we know that the additional social and emotional help, the counseling services, and whether it's grief, trauma, dealing with illness, family structure, job loss, all of the things that the pandemic has certainly gave to our student body and our families. We want to make sure that the counselors are on staff to provide assistance for that over the summer. So I've requested that students have regularly scheduled appointments with their counselors to fulfill that.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, if you go back, just, I
Was there
think
one
we missed the one on the bottom.
Yeah. Academic clubs and intramurals, we're really, we want kids connected to school. I think everybody in here would agree with that. We want the ability to do more than all the great things we already have. So there may be opportunities for us to come up with additional clubs and intramurals at our buildings that may be just a, random interest to certain kids. We want to have some level of flexibility to provide that connectivity for students to our schools. So that's why we're looking to add the academic clubs and intramurals.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it like this, we're looking to, give a significant boost to engagement, right? When they're able to get back, we want to make sure they're back and they're really connected with us. It was a really kind of cool thing last night, being here. I know Steve was here as well. There were so many activities going on our campus last night, and it was a gorgeous night. It was softball, both the fields were being used, baseball, softball, all the way down the stretch. All these people, all you thought of was, this is the kind of engagement that we're missing, right? And so how do we kind of really climb that pump for the next couple of years to get kids back, right? Honestly, one of the things you worry about, some of our sports teams, we've had less kids coming out. I mean, I'll tell you this, programs that aren't associated with our schools are struggling because feeder programs went like a year without, so they played a sport maybe for a year when they were 7, and the next year there's no soccer. Maybe soccer. So you're okay with that, right?
Yeah.
Just an example. But, no soccer then next year. We're very limited, and then the programs we just weren't in place. So we really want to do the best that we can to really climb that engagement connection to the school again. Next, thank you. Continue some of the Institute of Trauma and Trauma-Informed Care training. As some of you know, we actually started, we did one of those trainings to our entire staff a couple of years ago on opening day with Dr. Darren Snead. Huge positive impact, I think, on our staff. He's done a lot of work with our students as well. Speaking of him, the B Cares, we have an EAP, an employee assistance program for staff members who are in need of a number of different things, right? It's a human resource benefit for our staff that staff members take advantage of. It's confidential, wonderful. The difference between that program and the B Cares is that the B Cares has a number of programs that are proactive, that are kind of presentations and teletherapy and things that all can happen when somebody's not in crisis. And it's really the kind of the push with this particular type of benefit that we would like to provide and that we're planning to provide for our employees. So it's not that we're getting rid of the EAP. This is something that will be above and beyond. Well, what's kind of neat is because the federal funding is there for this sort of thing, we can see over the next year, 2 to 3 years, is this beneficial? It's not on top of, okay? Is it potentially in a replacement of? Well, we don't know yet, right? We'll be able to monitor how much this is taken advantage of by our staff and see how useful it really is.
It has a very impressive network of services that is very, very broad and it's national and in many instances global. So it looks like a really nice product.
Last one there is yoga. This year we've had a number of people, including various doing yoga for our students. There's been yoga videos that have been put out for our staff. A great way for people to get some calm in their lives. Yoga certainly does that meditation. I only really think 7 minutes. Still stretching from it. Rick said he recovered faster than I did. So I found it. Next. Technology. So, as many of you know, in the audience, I'm sure, we put together a technology plan that includes something that went out to the voters, a technology reserve that will be filled and used to purchase devices. Okay, and those devices will be purchased every year. Every 5 years, we really have to rotate all of our devices out. We're talking about $250 million each year. We're going to do this. We put it in here for now. There's a possibility that what we will do is purchase the first batch out of this fund. Okay, so about a $250,000 purchase, okay, for student devices. But we still have to look at that a little bit more closely. However, Wi-Fi access connectivity. We have provided both Wi-Fi and boosters in some cases for our families to make sure that they have an adequate connection. And that is something that is so important for our kids. We noticed this, shine a big light on this, that many of our students don't have adequate access, but are asked to do exactly the same assignments all the time. Okay. Can't get the same access. And as teachers in 2021, and more so now than ever, have switched to programs where they put all of their assignments in the classroom to go back to a situation where we use Google Classroom, but kids can't access that at all. Certainly is a significant disadvantage for those kids. So continuing to provide the Wi-Fi access connectivity. Our hope is that over the years, because there's some things happening statewide and federally, of course, that there's a way that this kind of access is much more regular for people, right? More normalized. But we're just not there yet. And we're particularly not there yet in certain parts of our school community. Okay. Last one on there, obviously communication has been really important during the pandemic, but more so now. I'm sorry for people who've seen my face on videos more than I ever wanted to. I thought you noticed after I started, I always turn it off. But two things that we've utilized are Zoom and Remind. Zoom's not going away in the next few years, and I don't know that it'll go away. We certainly have committed as a administrative leadership team to using it more. We don't have to pull people out of buildings. There's going to be times when we pull everybody together, but other times we can have an instructional leadership team meeting, and we can have that in a Zoom, and everybody can still be right in their buildings while we do that. So I think a lot of that will stay in place. Okay? And then the last thing on there is the live streaming costs. We see live streaming of athletic activities and performances that we have still going on. And at least in the short term, where we would have paid for some of those things before, we can do this with some of the federal monies. Okay. Last one here, cleaning, equipment, supplies, additional PPE. We'll certainly wear more masks. We're expected still at this point to have a stock of masks in place if we need to give that sort of thing out. And again, cleaning, I think many know we spend a lot of money on sprayers to sterilize, sanitize, to sanitize, and we spend, on masks. We'll certainly do that and be ready for the fall. Hopefully, I think that's it. Questions?
Yeah, in the summer program, you're at about 50% responses for families.
Correct.
That's right.
How, are you getting any feedback from the families? Like, are they enthusiastic? Are they grateful? Are they reluctant?
My understanding is they're very grateful, those that are choosing to participate. We saw a larger spike, actually. The number was somewhere down around 100, and then we discussed a lot more the importance of transportation for those families. And that's how we got the number up. So I think you're at 154. I don't want to be exact, but I think it's touch over 150. So, that did give us a boost. We went back out after those families.
Send it back
again.
out, so we
Yeah.
by transportation, added about 50%.
We really, really want them aboard.
Sure.
We did that probably about a week and a half ago now.
Yeah, and if you remember, we had the summer program for elementary in place before we really knew what we could use our federal funds for. We were putting that in place and actually shared with the board, and I was sharing ahead of time with the board, but talking about how we could do that and utilize the title funds. And then the federal stimulus dollars came and they said, hey, this is something that we definitely utilize those federal funds for, so we don't have to use our title funds.
That transportation just for this here, or is that the other?
So,
Good.
good question. Really good question.
I talked to Leslie earlier, if I could answer. Usually she's looking to provide the normal level of transportation, which is 1 to 2 buses that shuttle Food Falls from our campus.
So what happens is the kids get here and then we take them, okay?
Yeah.
But, you know, with all of these programs, right, after school programs, we know that we need to provide transportation if we want everyone to have access. So we're going to provide that. You didn't see that here because we don't know that we're gonna actually include those costs here. Okay? As of right now, we probably won't.
I know you put up there about credit recovery programs in the school. I know I talked to you about this and asked this about students who chose not to take classes because they were overloading their schedules. And are we going to offer some things maybe for our own summer school program here at the Falls?
Good question. Good question. Yes. So we are looking at some, call them enrichment or kind of get ahead opportunities. Something like health, something like PE. There's certainly an expectation there for some of this to be enrichment as well. So under that summer school blanket, okay, that was certainly something. Thanks.
And
Now,
you have a,
you said- Go ahead.
you said there was an increase of participation when we were going to transport, bus transport. Would there be, but they have to get here?
Two separate things, okay? Mr. Stack was talking about the summer school program for elementary. We're picking them up, bringing
At their
them
home.
here at their home, because we're bringing them here. The secondary program, the way we've historically done it, is students come here and then we transport them to Niagara Falls, if that's where they're going.
Okay. Because of these extra funds, has there been any research in if we picked up at home, would we get more of
We
a
get more.
population?
It's a great question. It's a great
Yeah, if they
That's
need
something
it.
we can definitely
It's
You know,
one thing we can do it.
some parents are working and they can't.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
once we identify who those kids are and how many, I think we could certainly easily
So it's not finalized.
send out a quick survey.
Not at all. Of course, you generally have some level of an idea, the secondary level of who's going to participate in some of that programming.
So it looks like this, are you coming? And if not, is transportation a problem and the reason why you're not coming?
Why you're not?
Of course, you wait for the end of the year, you wait for, it's a little bit different with the exam exemptions, but you're going to want to see how students perform on exams as well as the regular year.
And there's of course a really quick turnaround there, tighter than ever.
Very.
Jason,
You guys, I don't know if you have any documents or if you've drawn up any plans of, I guess, scope and function of how counselors, social workers, new proposed psychologists, like how they would all function together, or scope of duties, anything like that?
So,
Detail that you can get to us, or?
so is the question what their job functions are?
Yeah, so right now, the counselors, right, so without the psychologists now, right, are any of those duties being carried out by others that they'll now take on?
So,
Or
great
bring
example.
something
Yeah, you just
totally
gave a
different?
great, you gave a great example, right?
Yep.
So the school psychologist piece, here's what we're seeing. We're seeing more referrals to special education than we have before, okay? And we're expecting to see even more as students are tested. So very often, until you get an opportunity like for especially with reading, to hone in on reading skills, it's very difficult to determine whether or not it's the lack of ability to read, or is it, or is this a student who has delays in learning or problems reading, right? So we're already seeing in our special education department's already seeing an increase in the number of referrals coming in. So the people who handle that are your school psychologists at any of the levels. So adding one school psychologist to take on the burden of all those additional referrals is the main purpose of the school psychologist.
So they're being referred now out to somebody else?
No, they're just starting to come in, no.
And just like the infancy stages
Yeah.
of referral. And as far as the social workers and counselors and delineation of work, there's pretty clear, job roles, descriptions and functions that those individuals perform. I think the big difference there is that the addition of that social worker that we spoke of would be almost like a developer for networking program and networking support for the entire district that all of those individuals we just spoke of could take advantage of.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get my,
Sure.
being
Oh, it's a
unfamiliar
great
with it,
question.
I get,
Yeah.
I don't
Great
know
question.
how it actually functions or
Yep.
how they work together or
Well, and
there are differences.
yeah, absolutely.
There are.
And the job descriptions are on each one of those postings. So as far as what we'll put for, and we'll put which buildings if they're assigned a particular building. It's right there.
Well, there's some legalities too, right, with what each one is allowed to do in certain regards to things too. Like obviously, your
Yeah.
psychologist can do a lot more in the referral department, but yet there's still overlap in their duties. Because I mean, if there's a kid in need, they're all going to help out, in
Yeah,
that
and then
regard.
psychologists tend to be on the heavy side of the testing of students.
Could chair-
They
could
share
chair
the
special- yeah.
CSEs, that tends
Could
to
chair
be
student
there.
support team meetings, right?
Any other questions from the board? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll now start our public hearing.
What's it?
It's on here twice. I'm just joking.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, the presentation in the public hearing. Okay, let's read it. All right, do we have anyone sign up for residents' comment for privilege of the floor? Call for motion to accept the consensus agenda items as submitted.
So moved.
I'll second.
All right, any item to separate or to vote on by itself? Any item for discussion? And then all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining, motion carries. Call for motion to accept the personnel report as submitted.
Just make a motion.
All right, I would like to separate G1 and G3. Is there any other items separated to have voted on separately or discuss? All right, then, all those in favor of accepting items G2 and G4 through G21, please say aye. Aye. Opposed or abstaining, motion carries. Superintendent? Or do you want Mr. Stack?
Mr. Stack, thank
Mr.
you.
Stack.
Thank you very much. My pleasure this evening on item number 1 to introduce to you Amanda Stewart. And I am going to get a little help with that from Ms. Ferrari.
Stand up, I can stand here, all right?
Absolutely.
So I'm thrilled as I send some teachers off to a new chapter in retirement. I'm here to welcome Amanda. She did an amazing interview, first round, and a demo lesson. And she actually worked with Roseanne Highland for a little bit, so that's a really neat. I think Roseanne says it's like a circle. I'm full circle. I started with her, so. Amanda comes to us, she's a graduate of UB. She has her library and media specialist certification, and she just finished a long-term at Star Point Middle School. So we're thrilled. We're just so excited. She's going to have a lot of professional development. She's going to learn a lot about Tuscarora language and culture. I'm glad she saw this amazing presentation. Now she knows she may be involved in morning programs and afternoon programs and yoga. And so I'm sure to welcome you, and you will have a bus tour.
We got to talk about this bus tour. All those in favor of accepting Amanda Stewart as our library media specialist for Tuscarora Indian School, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed or abstaining, motion carries. Congratulations and welcome. Stack, item G3.
On item G3, it's a very special honor to introduce to the board the recommendation for next school year, but also talk to you a little bit about the individuals that are here this evening and about their awesome contribution this year. So I'll start on the far right. Kim Rainey has joined us this year as a building-based sub, and when I think of Kim, I think of enthusiasm, reliability, and compassion for kids, and she's really helped our middle school, and I want to thank you for that, and I'm happy to welcome you back next year. Amy Boysbury is a great story for me. I'll tell you, she bleeds black and red. She was wearing gold and navy over at Niagara Falls for a little while, but you turned coated on that. Much the chagrin of Mr. Papuch. We're happy to have you, Amy, and you came home to roost, no pun intended, and really had taken quite a welcome spot in the Western School, and you've just been such a great asset. I want to thank you for that.
Kim and I also graduated from Equity together.
So-
1985.
That's awesome.
And Miriam Hamley was here, and she must have left after the shuffle. But Miriam has been a very, very loyal soul. And the first question out of her mouth tonight to me was, "What do I do if I have to serve on ad hoc special education committee meetings this year when I might have to be a sub over the summer school program?" So her level of commitment is really, and enthusiasm is also very welcome. Very genuine person and an outstanding model for our kids. So I want to thank Miriam as well, who was here and left. So thank you.
All right. All those in favor of approving item G3, then please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining, motion carries. Congratulations again. All right, moving on to standing committees. Capital project, anything new today?
No, we're just, is it June? We're talking about maybe our next meeting, but it stands right now. We have nothing.
I think we're looking at maybe the second week of June. I sent something to our construction management group to see if they're able on that Monday. They come
So
in
next
for
week?
OACM.
Yeah.
The week after,
Week
just
after.
a Monday.
Oh,
That we'll see if we can do a meeting.
okay. Yeah, I see we have like the Grand Canyon in the parking lot in a couple spots right now. So,
Remember, all the work that you see in our parking lot's progress. It's all progress.
Those are man-made, by the way.
can't prove it. All right, policy committee, we have our second reading and adoption of policies. You want me to read them? Oh, of course you do. Yeah, all right. This is the second reading of policy 6120, the equal employment opportunity policy, 6121, sexual harassment in the workplace policy, policy 7550, the dignity for all students policy, 7553, the hazing of students policies, policy 8130, equal educational opportunity policy, 8220, the career and technical occupational education policy, 5633, gender neutral single occupancy bathrooms policy, and 7551, the sexual harassment of students policy. Any discussion or questions of any of the policies for our chair? All right, then, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. When is your next policy committee? You have anything open?
We do not have one scheduled.
Okay.
I think we just got the quarterly reports in. So we'll send some.
You do have an item, just as an informational item for early graduation of the student. So please make sure that you are aware of that, please.
It was nothing for audit.
There was nothing listed on here for audit
I don't
committee.
think so. Okay.
So, all right. Next official student members report.
Yeah, so I'll just say that today was a nice day in the high school. It was the National Honor Society induction. So that was held after school in the courtyard. Where we just kind of congratulated all the new inductees, our sophomores, and also recognized the seniors who completed all their community service hours. It was just a really nice event. It was the first time we had it out in the courtyard. And it turned out nice. The weather was perfect. And it was live streamed to all the parents. And I think that was really appreciated. So even though they couldn't be there, they were still a part of it. So overall, it was a great event. It was a great ceremony. And Mrs. Katie and everyone who helped out did a great job putting that together. Also in the high school, we're in the midst of some AP exams. So that's a lot of fun. For everyone taking those. And there's a lot of senior stuff coming up, like senior awards next week during the school day that'll be live streamed. There's a senior prom next Friday. That's going to be a class, and it's going to be really nice. We're thinking, so that's looking great. And then obviously graduation is coming up graduation ceremony, and then there's also the graduation rehearsal on the 21st.
Good, excellent. I know you're also disappointed now that you haven't gotten to call the snow day, so like the previous student rep. So I mean, if you want to talk to the superintendent any day, I'm sure there might be a heat day. There might be a heat day next week. Yeah.
Marissa, don't fall for it. Marissa, don't buy in.
Yeah. Just remember, if you happen to not see him at the ad building and Mrs. And Allison's here, you can always talk to her. She'll.
Yeah.
All right. For a presence report, just one item, actually 2 items. One, Maureen sent out to you about the finalized interest for the NISBA conference. Again, there's a couple of the board presidents that are questioning those dates. So I know that it's that Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, but we're all like, we don't remember ever them communicating that was going to be a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday before. So
I will reach out.
yeah. So just going around the table, Mike. All right. Nothing. Okay.
Yep.
Yes. I'm a yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Oh, well,
you were yes.
because you haven't.
I'm in the circle even, right? I'm not even over there.
Right over you.
You know, well, you might short up, the plane or room electricity or something. So. The second item is he already said yes. So yeah.
He did.
The second item is Linda Hoffman is our Region 1 rep for NISBA. Every 2 years, the regional representatives are up for nomination re-election. She has submitted her letter to ask for our board's nomination of her. So many boards have to nominate her. I'm just asking if it would be okay for me to direct our board clerk to submit a letter stating that we recommend her as a nominate her for it.
Sure.
We've done it the past couple of times. Yeah, she's been there forever. She's been at the should talk about Erie 2 BOCES and Springville for 27 years on the board. So, she's a lifer, so all right, I'll give you their letter, and you can, if you just want to send that out, it has in there what you have to include and everything. Okay. And actually, I'll give it to, because if I'll walk away with it and forget it. And again, the superintendent, just touched on this. Last night was fantastic to see the number of people here with events and things going on. Track, lacrosse going on at the same time, varsity softball game under the lights afterwards. Parking was an issue, and it's a good issue to have when we have that many kids and parents and everything being involved on campus here and everything like that. I know when we started the community now, coming up with the house soccer program starting up, and right now it's going to be even more people because NWA has now, we have about 250 people signed up for house soccer kids, for house soccer. So it's going to be a very busy Tuesdays and Thursdays here up for the next couple of weeks. So if you haven't had a chance to get out, come out here and see what it's like right now with both athletic complexes. Well, the whole athletic complex of both fields being used. And I shouldn't say both fields, all the fields, the baseball and the softball going on in the grass fields also and everything. All right, superintendent's report.
Thank you. If I could just for a moment build on the back of something Marissa brought up. I just wanted to thank Ms. Piscati. The National Honor Society is a really important part of the fabric of our district and of districts, and her work and her commitment to that program over multiple years now, certainly since I've been here, it is awesome. It's a lot of work. It's a difficult position to be in, as you can imagine at times. There's certainly a number of different pressures, but she just really cares a great deal about kids and does a great job every year with putting that together and putting together events for kids. So I just wanted to thank her. Couple events that took place, one on May 21st and one on May 22nd, connected to our CDEP committee. The first was the elementary virtual district glow dance party. 300 people, is that the number? There were 300, about 300 people district-wide at the elementary level who participated in that hour-long dance party. So really cool, really great job to that committee who put that together. What a great opportunity for kids to get engaged, even though they couldn't do it in person. So that was great. And the Eco Campus Revitalization Project, we had between 40 and 50 volunteers that day. We planted 50 seedlings back along Cayuga Creek here on the far west side of our property. We also did some cleanup. Some of the beds were weeded, and there was a special event that day as well, special tree planting. Really, I want to thank Corey Turner, who's a PE teacher over at Tuscarora, who really organized that event. And it was for a student we lost this past year, Renee Hill. And there was a tree planting, and it was a pretty special ceremony. So I want to thank him for really getting that going at school. Mr. Sable mentioned all the activities taking place yesterday. One of the other activities that was taking place here was our unified sports and the particularly unified basketball program. Our students were participating against Sweet Home, I believe it was. And it was just, I got to see the first half. It was outstanding. It was just such a, it's what all sports should be. You know, people cheering for everybody who's participating and working their hardest to play, in this case, basketball. But it was just an absolutely awesome event. And I know that was our third game, but just some of the initial feedback, some of the things that I'm hearing from coaches, from fans, from what they're saying about the kids and their experiences in this program is just awesome. You know, the idea that students who normally wouldn't have had an opportunity to get on a bus, to go to another school, to represent their school and put on a uniform is just awesome. And I want to thank, you know, Mr. McKenna brought that to this group. The board didn't blink an eye when it came to let's fund it, absolutely. And it's really the first year that we've had an opportunity to do it. And it's a pretty special thing. So it was my first chance to get to see it. It was awesome. Graduation update. I think Marissa already gave an update there. I will say this. As of right now, the guidance has not changed for graduations in which you're having over 500 people, meaning guests, in attendance. So we're going to have over 500. At this time, vaccination or testing is still required. We are doing all the testing for any of our students who are not vaccinated prior to the day. That morning, we'll do testing for them. But for the families, they will either have to be tested or vaccinated to attend. Okay. That may change. I don't know. I wouldn't count on it. Stay tuned. We'll of course keep everybody in the loop. But that number is now 500. At one time, not too long ago, 201 to 500 had to be tested and vaccinated as well for outdoor events. If you had 201 to 500, now they do not. Now anything over 500, you do. So if that changes, we'll very quickly get that information out to families. Hopefully if they change it, they do it soon so we can let families know, right?
Dan, question on this. Is there any thought of separating the ones who were vaccinated and the ones who were not?
So you can do that. That is one of the things that you can do at private venues. It's one of the alternatives, right? Or options that you can do for private venues. Schools are living by different rules. But if it wasn't school related, what you could do is you could have a section for vaccinated and a section for those who were not vaccinated, but not in school.
So that's still with masks.
Correct. What you could do in that situation in a private, and
Right,
I don't want to speak too far on, but I know what I've read,
No.
right? But in the guidance, if for a private, not a public setting like a school, they could do something like that, and they could have the vaccinated people not have to wear masks. Everybody else would have to be at least 6 feet apart, I believe it is, without masks or closer together with. But again, I don't want to get too far into the weeds on the stuff that I don't need to know. And, you know, I get, there's certainly been people who have talked about it, who are, you know, concerned, you know, would like us to forget the rules, and we won't do that. I won't do that. I'll never do that because I'm not a doctor in disease control. And as long as I'm not, I'll make sure that I listen to those who are. On June 16th, we're going to honor the people who received tenure already. In the fall, we will honor the people who received tenure this year, okay? But we missed the group last year, so on the 16th, they've been invited. So there will be treats back there again for those who look forward to that. And
Mike's excited.
last, not least, I say it all the time, but food service, it's available for all of our families to participate in. It's free, both breakfast and lunch. There's the grab and go program, of course. We will be continuing that program throughout the summer again this year. And the free food service will go on until June of next school year. Okay, June 30th of next year. That's all I have.
Any questions of superintendent's report? All right then. Any items for board discussion? Any old business this time? Any new business this time? Public comments, Cindy? I mean, well, you haven't been here, now I can't have to call you out. Is it paper, or the paper calendar? All right, any board member comments? All right, then, call for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second. Moving seconded, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining, motion carries, we are adjourned.